How much of London can you see in just one day? Turns out, a heck of a lot. I'll show you the route I call the Royal Sightseeing Triangle. It's essentially a walk around St. James's Park. It's great for first-time visitors or those who only have a day or two to spend in the British capital. I'll give you a quick overview of the route and then fill in lots of details, like places to eat and drink, and added attractions along the way. It's a more than pleasant 2-mile or 3-kilometer walk through the heart of the city. You'll start and end the Royal Sightseeing Triangle at Westminster Tube Station, right next to Big Ben, and the Houses of Parliament. A short walk across Parliament Square, and you're at nearby Westminster Abbey, the Royal Church, site of coronation since 1066. A 2 or 3 block walk north brings you to the Birdcage Walk, a tree-lined street bordering St. James's Park. A short stroll, and you're at Buckingham Palace. Walk around Victoria Memorial and head down the Mall to Admiralty Arch and through it to Trafalgar Square, home of the National Gallery, Nelson's Column, and the church, St. Martin in the Fields. Make your way down Whitehall, back toward Big Ben. Midway, you'll see the Horse Guards running their parade ground. Horse Guards Parade. Just steps away is the Prime Minister's residence, number 10 Downing Street. Just 3/4 of a mile from Buckingham Palace, it sits behind an imposing, well-guarded gate. If you feel a bit intimidated, you're supposed to. Along Whitehall, you'll see monuments and memorials between street lanes. Among them is the Cenotaph, the UK's National War Memorial. Now, make your way back to Parliament Square. The Westminster Tube Station, your starting point, is right where you left it, across from Big Ben. If you have time and energy, make your way across Westminster Bridge, ending the Royal Sightseeing Triangle Tour with a sunset spin on the London Eye. From that side of the river, you'll get an iconic view of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. The Palace of Westminster is spectacular, from ground or air. Now, let's take a more detailed look at the Royal Sightseeing Triangle. Arriving at Westminster Tube Station via the Circle, District, or Jubilee lines is a treat for those like me interested in architecture, engineering, or just fascinated with the underground. In 1868, the station opened with subsurface platforms just below street level that today serve the District and Circle lines. In 1999, much deeper level platforms were added for the expanding Jubilee line. Massive concrete and steel cross-bracing beams were used to support the cavernous space needed for expansion. They give the station an austere, futuristic look. The building atop the station houses offices for 200-plus members of Parliament. As you exit, your first sight is Big Ben. Technically, it's the Elizabeth Tower, which houses the bell called Big Ben. Sometimes, for a lucky few, clock tower tours are available. While a Big Ben tour is hard to get, tours of Parliament are fairly easy to come by. If you have time and an interest in politics, a Houses of Parliament tour is well worth the effort. Highlights are the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and Westminster Hall. If you're interested in a Parliament tour, book tickets as soon as possible. Those tickets are free to UK residents. The rest of us have to pay. Plan to spend a couple of hours here. On your way out, grab a bite to eat at the cafe or a souvenir at the Jubilee shop. If you can't fit a tour in, but still want an official souvenir, there's an official Parliament shop across from Parliament Square, just down from the Westminster Tube Station. Now, make your way across Parliament Square to Westminster Abbey. In the square, you'll see statues of historic leaders from the UK and around the world, including Lincoln, Mandela, and Gandhi. Leading this forever stationary parade is Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister who led Britain and the Allies to victory in the Second World War. Just steps away from Parliament Square is the Gothic masterpiece that is Westminster Abbey, the Royal Church, coronation site for 40 kings and queens since 1066. Construction of the current church, flying buttresses and all, began in 1245 under the reign of Henry III. The Abbey is a must-see, architecture, history, and final resting place for more than 3,300, including kings and queens, the nation's unknown warrior, and world icons Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, and Stephen Hawking, among so many others. Paid tickets are required to see Westminster Abbey. As you leave, don't miss the Westminster Abbey shop. It's the place for top-notch gifts with meaning. Once outside, head north on Story's Gate. The street is just 3 short blocks. Midway down, there are 2 good places for food and drink. First up is the Westminster Arms, and just around the corner is the Old Queen Street Cafe. Now make your way to the end of Story's Gate Road. Just a few steps to the left, and you're facing the southeast corner of St. James's Park. The wide street to your left is Birdcage Walk. To the right is Horse Guards Road. At the park's corner is the Story's Gate Cafe. It's a good place for a quick break. Just a short walk down Horse Guards Road, and you're at the Churchill War Rooms. If you have an interest in Churchill or World War II, you have to walk the corridors of the top-secret nerve center where Churchill and his government directed war efforts during the tense days and nights of World War II. Now, head back the way you came, around the corner to the Birdcage Walk, a tree-lined street that's the southern border of St. James's Park. The street is named after the Royal Menagerie and Aviary that was located there during the reign of King James I. As you make your way west to Buckingham Palace, resist the urge to cross over and head into St. James's Park. Before you reach the end of Birdcage Walk, you'll come to the Wellington Barracks, located just 300 yards from Buckingham Palace. The barracks house the Foot Guards on public duty in the area. The Foot Guards are the regular infantry regiments of the Household Division of the British Army. At the barracks, you can visit the Guards Museum and learn the story of the 5 regiments who've had the duty and honor of protecting the sovereign and royal palaces since 1660. If you don't have time for the museum, do take a moment to see the Guards Chapel. It's easily accessible from Birdcage Walk and free to enter. I discovered the chapel as a place to sign a condolence book for Queen Elizabeth. Next up is nearby Buckingham Palace. If you're there by 11 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday, you'll see the changing of the guard. In June and July, the guard change happens daily. Arrive early, an hour or more, to claim a prize spot by the gate. The actual guard change happens inside the forecourt. If you can't snag a spot by the gate, no worries. Just walk up. You'll easily see and hear why London is a spectacular destination. If you're at Wellington Barracks around 10 a.m., you can see the new guard form there and follow as they march to Buckingham Palace just before 11 a.m. Sometimes the public guard change is canceled. Always double-check their website. If you miss the changing of the guard and aren't in London for a royal event, there's another way to see horses, carriages, and the trappings of royalty. For 10 weeks in summertime, Buckingham Palace is open to lucky ticket holders. Plan ahead and you'll see the Royal Mews, the royal carriages, and the Queen's Gallery. And inside the palace, you'll see the staterooms, the throne room, and the state dining room. Outside or inside, Buckingham Palace is everything you imagine it to be. If you are in London at the right time, do your best to get a ticket for an inside tour. The palace tour ends outside in the back garden. At some point, spend some time in St. James's Park. This 57-acre royal park includes a lake with 2 islands. It's home to a variety of birds and waterfowl. There's even a colony of pelicans. At the heart of the park is St. James's Cafe. It's a larger restaurant with a more varied menu than its corner-hugging cousin at Story's Gate. St. James's Park is bordered by the Palace to the west, the Mall to the north, the Horse Guards to the east, and of course, the Birdcage Walk to the south. From the palace, follow the path of kings and queens, soldiers and tourists down the Mall. When you come to Marlborough Road, head north. In just a minute or so, you'll be at Friary Court at St. James's Palace. The court plays an important role in the transition from one monarch to the next, just as it did after Queen Elizabeth's death. Here, a rehearsal shows how the Accession Council, overlooking the guard from the Proclamation Gallery, meets to declare a new monarch. The guard change happens here, too. You can catch its start at 10:30 a.m. on days the guard changes. St. James's Palace is the most senior of royal residences, built by order of Henry VIII in 1530. To this day, ambassadors to the UK present their credentials here, to the court of St. James's. Just a few blocks north of the palace, hidden down a narrow street, is Duke's Hotel. If you're a James Bond fan, put it on your itinerary. Ian Fleming, a regular at Duke's Bar,
3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily, shake it over rice, and then add a thin slice of lemon.
came up with the idea for Bond's shaken not stirred martini here. For a price, you can have an adapted version of that ice-cold Vesper martini at the bar. Adapted because the quinoa lily is no longer available, and today's drink isn't shaken, it's poured. The bar is open Monday through Saturday from 3 to 11 p.m. As always, double-check the hours on their website. Also note, there's a dress code, smart casual, no t-shirts or shorts at Duke's. Bond wouldn't wear them, neither can you. Now back down to the Mall, and on to its end at Admiralty Arch. It was built by King Edward VII in memory of his mother, Queen Victoria. Walk through, and you'll be in Trafalgar Square. The square commemorates the British naval victory, the Battle of Trafalgar. Its centerpiece is the 169-foot-tall Nelson's Column that's guarded by 4 rather large lions. Each December, since 1947, a Christmas tree donated by Norway is the featured attraction. It's a gift of gratitude to the people of London for the UK's support during World War II. It and the rest of Trafalgar Square is best viewed from the rooftop bar of the hotel, the Trafalgar St. James. Treat yourself. The view and the drinks are tops any time of year. Directly across the square is St. Martin in the Fields, the royal family's parish church, known for its lunchtime and evening concerts. It's also home to a most unique cafe. Just a quick elevator ride down from plaza level is the Cafe in the Crypt. The name says it all. The atmosphere, the good food, and the cafeteria setup make it a quick and easy lunch stop. It's hard to beat the speed and quality in one of the most tourist-filled parts of the British capital. Also fronting Trafalgar Square is the National Gallery, a museum that's home to 2,300 paintings, dating from the 13th to the 19th century. It's one of the greatest collections of art in the world. Admission to the National Gallery is free. But for an in-depth look at selected works, London Walks, the oldest walking tour company in the world, offers a 2-hour expert-guided tour.
As long as I gaze at Waterloo sunset.
London Walks has an endless array of guided tours, including other walks that fit well in the Royal Sightseeing Triangle. They offer an expert-guided tour of Westminster Abbey, a Hello London walk which serves as an introduction to the city's must-see sights, a Spymaster's walk that covers Westminster intrigue, ending near Duke's Hotel, and a Westminster walk that focuses on the seat of British power. I always tell people they should include London's Big Three: Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and London walks as part of any trip here. I have since 1984. Check out walks.com for a list of daily walking tours all around this sprawling city. On the other side of the National Gallery, across from St. Martin's, is the National Portrait Gallery, home to the most extensive collection of portraits in the world, and there's no admission charge. If you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, a quick walk down tree-lined Northumberland Avenue brings you to the namesake pub. Heading down Whitehall towards Big Ben, you'll soon come to the Horse and Guardsman, an independent pub popular with all sorts. With 2 levels and a second entrance near Admiralty Arch, it's a good choice for a bite or a pint as you make your way down Whitehall. And it's aptly named for its neighborhood. Halfway down Whitehall, you'll come to the Horse Guards, and through the building behind them, Horse Guards Parade, site of the annual Trooping the Color, when the King reviews his troops. The Horse Guards building, with clock tower over an entry archway, is the official entrance to both Buckingham Palace and St. James's Palace. A dark stain on the clock's Roman numeral 2 marks the time of King Charles I's execution in 1649. The Horse Guards building dates from the 18th century. It's guarded by 2 mounted troopers from the King's Life Guard from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. These guards are changed every hour. At 4 p.m., there's a dismounted inspection by the duty officer in the courtyard in front of the building. On the other side of the building, on the parade ground, you can see the more elaborate changing of the King's Life Guard at 11 a.m., Monday through Friday. Here you can avoid the Buckingham Palace crowds and see the horses and guards up close. The Household Cavalry Museum is located here too. See exhibits and get a look at the working stables of the King's Life Guard. Earlier, I mentioned 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister's residence. Loitering in front of the gate is not encouraged, but take a good look as you slowly walk by. Make your way toward Big Ben, passing the cenotaph, the monument to those who died defending the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in war. There are a couple of pubs as you make your way back toward the Westminster Tube Station. The Red Lion is just up from the cenotaph, and St. Stephen's is closest to the station. Its location makes it often crowded, but it hits the spot if you need fish and chips or a pint before moving on. If you have time and energy left, make your way past Big Ben and across Westminster Bridge to the south bank of the Thames. A left at the waterfront brings you to the London Eye. With more than 3 million visits a year, it's the most popular paid tourist attraction in the United Kingdom. Its 32 slow-moving air-conditioned capsules provide spectacular views of monumental London, from Parliament and Big Ben to Westminster Abbey and beyond to Buckingham Palace. All sights you'll see from ground level as you make your way around the Royal Sightseeing Triangle. And there you have it, an easy way to see most of London's must-see sights in just one day. It's a comfortable walk that you can do at your own pace. And you'll have time to see inside Parliament or Westminster Abbey, and in summertime, even Buckingham Palace. The Royal Triangle Walk offers a lot of options, including the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace or at Horse Guards Parade. The 2 museums focusing on the guard, the church, St. Martin in the Fields, the 2 art museums, a bit of Bond, a spot of Sherlock, and even the London Eye. To add depth and detail, include a guided tour offered by London Walks. And don't forget all the great food and good drinks along the way. From way up high, London is breathtakingly spectacular. If you're like me, you absolutely love a high-rise view. And in this category, London excels, with an incredibly diverse number of observation platforms spread throughout the city. You can see the expansive skyline and the River Thames from skyscrapers like the Shard, the Walkie-Talkie, and the 2 at Bishopsgate. There are even views that change as you go, like the London Eye and the London cable cars. Historic sites like St. Paul's Cathedral and the Royal Observatory specialize in heavenly vistas. And there are views from the most unexpected places, like the two former power stations along the Thames, the Battersea Power Station, now a residential and retail complex, and the museum, the Tate Modern, once home to the Bankside Power Station. And there's the Olympic Park Tower. Difficult to pronounce, hard to describe, but the view from the top is not to be missed. Not to be outdone, the rooftop category scores big with a trio of more down-to-earth venues. The Garden at 120 offers 15th floor close-up views of financial district skyscrapers. The rooftop terrace atop the 8-story shopping center, One New Change, provides a neighborly look at St. Paul's and its dome. And the rooftop bar at the Trafalgar St. James shares its unique view with Lord Nelson. Price-wise, there's great diversity too. At the very high end is the London Eye and the Shard. In the mid-range is St. Paul's and the Battersea Power Station. The London cable cars and the Olympic Park Tower are on the low end of the scale. But surprisingly, the free venues provide the best experiences. Those include the Walkie-Talkie, the Tate Modern, the Lookout at 8 Bishopsgate, Horizon 22 at 22 Bishopsgate, the Garden at 120, the One New Change roof deck, and the Hilltop Royal Observatory. Throw in the Trafalgar St. James too, but chances are you'll pay for at least a drink or two there. So, you can get spectacular aerial views of London for free. My favorites change from time to time, but at the moment, the Lookout on floor 50 of the new building, 8 Bishopsgate, has a lot to love. When I first went up, I spent a lot more time than planned. The space is big and it's sparse. There's nothing in it that indicates it's anything but an empty floor. That may change, but I hope not. I wasn't the only one who spent lots of time here. It wasn't overcrowded, and I didn't feel rushed. I love these shots of others just looking out at London from a distance. They seem to take their place in the skyline. But it does seem like there's a sci-fi script begging to be written here. The Lookout at 8 Bishopsgate more than meets expectations. From 50 floors up, you'll peer down at the Walkie-Talkie and across the river to the Shard. To the southwest is the Tower of London and Tower Bridge, and to the east is St. Paul's Cathedral. To get your free ticket, just reserve your spot online. Next door, and 8 floors higher, at 22 Bishopsgate, is Horizon 22. Snagging a free ticket to the now tallest free observation platform in London takes planning. You may need to book a month or two in advance. Since we're so close, let's hop down to the Sky Garden atop the 38-story 20 Fenchurch Street, better known, for obvious reasons, as the Walkie-Talkie. Love or hate the building, and opinions are mixed. The massive, multi-level observation deck here shines in all sorts of ways. Along with a huge outdoor balcony, the Sky Garden also has 2 restaurants and a bar. This cavernous space feels like an arena in the sky, offering truly epic views of the Thames and its prominent neighbor across the river, the Shard. Your free Sky Garden ticket has to be booked in advance. It allows you to see spectacular views of the Thames, the Tower of London, St. Paul's Cathedral, and London's financial district, called the City, home to the Gherkin, as well as the Walkie-Talkie, and the skyscrapers at Bishopsgate. Across the river, the Shard, a 72-story, pyramid-shaped, glass-covered skyscraper, proves again Londoners know how to name buildings. The Shard sits atop London Bridge Station, where you can catch a Thameslink or underground train. Home to office workers, hotel guests, diners, and residents, the Shard is capped with a dramatic indoor-outdoor observation deck. The main viewing platform on floor 69 and the open-air deck on floor 72 offer a one-of-a-kind experience. It does feel like you're standing on top of jagged glass. This impossible-to-miss skyscraper maximizes its angular views of the British capital. As you make your way up through increasingly narrow floors, you'll hear birds chirping and wind blowing. If you're a pretend architect like me, you have to, at least once, pay the sky-high price to visit this observation platform. Across Westminster Bridge, from the Houses of Parliament, sits the London Eye. With 3 million plus visitors a year, and more than 30 million since it opened in 2000, it's the UK's #1 paid attraction. A slow spin offers spectacular views of Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, and the Thames. But it's a pricey ride. You can book your tickets in advance or at a self-serve kiosk inside the building just across from the wheel. A spin around takes about 30 minutes in one of 32 air-conditioned capsules. If, like the Shard, the price is too steep, there are plenty of free options that offer fantastic views of London. And another of those is Level 10 at the Tate Modern. With the old Bankside Power Station chimney in the foreground, it offers an expansive view across the river at St. Paul's Cathedral, Millennium Bridge, and skyscrapers, including the Walkie-Talkie and the Shard. There's no museum entry fee, and there's no time limit. Just head up to Level 10 for an expansive view that does not disappoint. From all these observation platforms, you can see St. Paul's, but the view from the cathedral's dome is hard to beat. There's an entry fee for the cathedral that includes dome access. If you go all the way up to the top of the dome, it's 528 steps. For young or old, that can be a workout, but the payoff is worth it. But if the steps are too much, the view from the much shorter climb to the base of the dome may be the perfect compromise. From either level, you can see the skyscrapers of the financial district and back across the river to the Tate Modern. As you make your way around the dome, you'll walk in the footsteps of the St. Paul's Watch, a volunteer fire brigade of 300, clergy, staff, architects, and local residents who protected the dome and the cathedral from the threat of bombs during the Blitz in World War II. As you look down, just across the street, you'll see the rooftop of the 6th-floor shopping center called One New Change. Its rooftop view is free. Just hop on a lift and head topside. Always double-check websites to make sure this or any other observation deck is open and operating normally when you want to visit. Now back in London's financial district is the Garden at 120. This 15th-floor garden is the City of London's largest public rooftop space. It is free, open to the public, and doesn't require a reservation. Day or night, it offers 360-degree views of next-door skyscrapers and Greater London. It's atop the Fincourt building at 120 Fenchurch Street, just down from the Walkie-Talkie. The garden at 120 is home to 85 Italian wisteria trees, more than 30 fruit trees, and a 200-foot flowing water feature. To keep the vibe going after rooftop closing time, the bar and restaurant, called 14 Hills, offers similar views just one floor below. And, speaking of bars, don't miss out on the rooftop bar at the hotel, the Trafalgar St. James at Trafalgar Square. It'll probably cost a drink or two, but, especially at nighttime, it provides a one-of-a-kind view of rooftop London, Nelson's Column, and the Square. One of London's newest platforms is in one of its most iconic structures, the Battersea Power Station. Called Lift 109, it's an elevated platform that raises viewers 109 meters to the top of the station's northwest chimney, right next to the Thames. As the glass-enclosed lift pokes over the chimney, You're able to move about and see views from every angle. The way to go up is filled with interactive history displays and a bit of drama, from the countdown at the vault door to the wall-size images inside that show how power is generated. From that sensory overload, you'll take small lifts close to the top of the chimney. Then you'll climb stairs to a second larger glass lift that will be your viewing platform. It is a well-designed experience, but you won't have much time at the top, 10 minutes at most. The glass lift is a bit crowded, and you will feel rushed moving about to see all sides. A warning before descent gives you a chance for a last look around. Lift 109 is fun, creative, and not to be missed. I bought my last-minute ticket at the Lift 109 shop. Today, the Battersea Power Station is a massive retail and residential complex that, as you can see, makes full use of its iconic building. For an added thrill, arrive dockside by Uber boat. Staying in the unusual category, let's head to Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in East London, home to the ArcelorMittal Orbit, a sculpture-like tower with high-rise views of next-door neighbor London Stadium, once Olympic Stadium. And in the distance, the skyscrapers of Canary Wharf. The Orbit, called Britain's largest piece of public art, also attracts thrill-seekers wishing to propel down from the observation deck, or to slide down the world's tallest and longest tunnel slide. I love the tower views, and finally, after all these years, being in Olympic Park, built for the 2012 London Games. And I somehow survived the tunnel experience that does cost extra. It's fast, it's steep, and not for the faint of heart. The Orbit Tower is set for refurbishment, so check its website to make sure it's open when you want to visit. The London cable cars, also known as the Dangleway, opened just before the Olympic Games. This scenic ride over the Thames from Greenwich Peninsula to the Royal Docks was originally designed as a car-free way to get people to the Millennium Dome, now called the O2 Arena or just the O2. Today, the cable cars are mostly used by tourists wanting a one-of-a-kind view of the river and Greater London. You can use contactless payment for tickets. It's a bit out of the way, but as aerial views go, it's a nice round trip to take if you have time. Just south of the cable cars is the Royal Observatory at Greenwich Park. The view from the top of the hill is more than worth the climb. And of course, it is free. You'll see all of Greenwich Park, the National Maritime Museum, and the skyline of Canary Wharf. Make sure you visit the observatory and straddle the Prime Meridian before you head down to explore fascinating Greenwich. So there you have it. As viewing platforms go, those are the biggies. It's a diverse list with a wide price range. Some of the sites are must-dos at least once, and those cost, sometimes a lot. But the rest, especially the free ones, are great places to return over and over again to get your view on. There are other places in London that offer unique viewing experiences, including the O2 Arena, which offers dome-top climbs for a price. If you take the Tower Bridge tour, you can see the river and a bit of skyline through the windows on the elevated walkways that span the two towers. And you can peer down at the roadway below through the glass floor. If you climb a narrow 345-foot stairway, you can see the view from the top of the monument to the Great Fire of London. The fluted Doric column near the northern end of London Bridge is close to the spot where the fire started in 1666. The Great Fire raged for 4 days, destroying more than 80% of the medieval city. And from Hampstead Heath, one of London's many wonderfully large parks, you can get an expansive skyline view from high atop Parliament Hill. London is beautiful and historic at every turn, but the view from the top is spectacular. I hope this guide helps as you plan your sky-high time in London. If you like this guide, subscribe to my channel, Newsocracy. There you'll find video guides to Cornwall, Brighton Beach, Ted Lasso, plus a lot more about the British capital. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Jim Albritton.